sometimes we're high functioning. We don't realize just how much we're holding on to. So sleep is that where we can just let it all go.
Mm.
It's when our body can truly rest and relax and just be. Um, there's a lot that calms down. For instance, like our breathing slows down a little bit. So that means our blood pressure drops. That all correlates with our resting. Our internal temperature drops as well. We're not as likely to be as responsive to our external environments. So it's more of an internal thing. We're able to, if you believe in consciousness, go within and figure out what's wrong with our body. But it's pretty much we're turning off our egos and we're allowing our bodies to just be.
What's up, you beautiful beasts? I'm Katie. I'm on a mission to help humans become their favorite versions of themselves and to strive for overall health by healing their relationship to food and exercise, healing their relationship to their body, and most importantly, healing their relationship to themselves, all without ever having to step on a scale. I have had the privilege to talk to all kinds of different humans who have been through a plethora of experiences just being a human and existing. I believe that every single time someone shares their story, at least one person listening will learn from it, be inspired by it, and maybe, just maybe, even change the entire direction of their life. These are the stories of humans unveiling their beautiful beast. Keep listening. This is the Unveiling the Beast podcast. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about who you are and why you are who you are, or why you think you are who you are?
Yes. Hi, I'm Amanda Olejarz. I am a self-proclaimed natural-born weirdo. However, my mother is also very much reassured that in my head. She's been my biggest influence in my life because she's been calling me weird since as long as I can remember, telling me to be normal. So I've gone through my entire life thinking that I am doing it wrong. And because of that, I feel like I've gone against my natural instincts. So everything I've wanted to do has been shut down, including my career, which we often identify as, right? I wanted to be an astronaut. I was told I wasn't smart enough. I'm like, well, that's sad and frustrating. Let's not be smart at all then, right? I wanted to be a teacher and they're like, no, why on earth would you want that? There's not enough money. I'm like, but I want to help people. Well, that was dumb. So I'm like, okay, brought them medical profession, massage therapy. They said yes. And I was like, okay, but I didn't realize just how much it was going to change my life because I was in chronic pain myself. I had my lower back go out on me when I was 17, and it was the most devastating pain that I have like ever been in. I don't know if you've ever been through pain, but like when your low back just seizes up and you can't move, I was not able to use my words. All I could do was cry and like barely breathe. It was so terrible. But massage really helped me with that until it didn't help me anymore. I have been a massage therapist since 2007, and I feel like I've learned a whole bunch of very amazing modalities. I give so many of them so much credit. I've helped so many people get out of pain, avoid surgery, even get off medication with massage, even though it sounds crazy, but stress just does so much on the body. Sometimes massage just isn't enough, and it is kind of like a pampering instead of an actual therapy. So I'm like, all right, what else can I do? And it just so happened I lost 2 massage jobs in a year because of insurance reasons. So I had to figure out a new way to live. So I put myself back to school for polysomnography, which is sleep technology. I had no idea it was a thing, but I have a degree in it and I'm one of the first in the country. And I'm like, dang, this is really cool. But there's so much that happens when we're sleeping. It's crazy. And I learned firsthand because, when do you sleep normally? During the night. My job was watching you sleep. So I had to go against my circadian rhythm and essentially play Santa Claus and be like, okay, so I learned to appreciate sleep so much. And like, honestly, between me and you, it makes me cringe when people are like, yeah, I'm on 4 hours and I'm fine. I'm like, I've seen your brain waves. You're not fine. I've been in your position. You're not fine. Insomniac right here. It's not okay. But like, I changed my sleep during lockdown. I wound up losing my job at the hospital. We shut down. I was like, oh my gosh, I get to practice what I preach now. And it helps me out so much. And then adding all the massage stuff on top of it and like the different kinds of stretching, the Tai Chi, the slow movement. I was like, all right, this is really good. I started feeling awesome. But then I went back to school during that time to finish up my holistic nutrition degree. And when I switched up what I was eating, it was legit night and day difference. In 3 days, I felt like I had a different body and I was getting massaged from the inside out. I'm like, nobody's touched me. It's lockdown. Nobody wants to get within, 6 feet of me. Like, how am I feeling so good? And I know what I've been doing. I haven't done anything except do this. I'm like, there's some kind of power in this. And ever since then, I feel like that has been like my go-to.
I love that. I love it. I've been trying to figure out how to explain to my people that pampering is actually good for your health. And I think you just did it in a nutshell with the massage therapy explanation. Like it's a stress reliever and I mean, like physically you're getting the knots out of your wherever they are. And then the sleep piece, that's the like in everything that I'm doing with the 7 pillars of health. I just recently called them that. I was calling them pillars. I'm like, that sounds too boring and sophisticated. So let's go with pillows because like everything like health wise, it's all connected to each other, but sleep is kind of like, hello, microphone. Sleep is like the blanket that covers everything and just like fuels everything else that we do for our health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's one of those things that I feel like when you actually understand what's going on and when you get a good night's sleep, it's truly life-changing. And then you start to recognize what it's like to not have that anymore. And you're like, holy cow, I don't want this. It's really beautiful. And you're like, my standards have changed. This is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just a quick side story. I didn't get enough sleep for like 6 years. So I had like chronic sleep deprivation. And when I finally started getting sleep again, I was like, something's missing, something's missing, something's missing. And I realized that every day for like 6 years, I was distracted by my exhaustion and I no longer had that distraction. And so I was like, something's missing. What's going on? Like, I can see everything clearly. Now the rain is gone.
I love that song. But yeah, no, it's true. And I feel like the same rings true with massage therapy as well. Like once you get rid of pain and you're no longer paranoid about moving the wrong way or like breathing intensely or coughing, when that is no longer there, there's so much emptiness, it seems like. But that is
Yeah.
just filled with things that you want instead of the paranoia. So it's part beautiful, but you have to make sure that you're filling that space with something beneficial for you.
Yeah. So let's get nitty-gritty and kind of talk about what sleep does for you physically. And then we can get into the mental crap later, but but like physically, what does sleep do for you? For us, like
So,
for humans.
well, yeah, pretty much for any well, most conscious beings, sleep is that rest and digest, right? But it's that turn off. I know I'm not always the best at powering off my phone or my electronic devices, but I'm sure You can attest when you unplug it for 30 seconds and you plug it back in, it's like a brand new device sometimes. It just works so much smoother. And I feel like that's what sleep is. Because like we were just saying, sometimes that stress, that anxiety, sometimes we're high functioning, we don't realize just how much we're holding on to. So sleep is that where we can just let it all go.
Mm.
It's when our body can truly rest and relax and just be. Um, there's a lot that calms down. For instance, like our breathing slows down a little bit. So that means our blood pressure drops. That all correlates with our resting, our internal temperature drops as well. We're not as likely to be as responsive to our external environments. So it's more of an internal thing. We're able to, if you believe in consciousness, go within and figure out what's wrong with our body. But it's pretty much we're turning off our egos and we're allowing our bodies to just be, because our subconscious knows what's going on. Not to get too into the mental, but the subconscious is the body, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't know. I don't know how I'm making myself breathe and talk and pump all the blood and make new cells. I have no idea how that's happening. Like I read it in a book, that's all fine and dandy, but put it in a practical use, woo, that's intense. But yet here I am doing it every single second. And so are you, and that's beautiful. But I don't know what to do. If I had to explain it, I would have anxiety. But all of that dissipates when we're asleep or when we're in a meditative state. It's getting that consciousness, that ego out of the way so that we could just be the physical experiences that we are this current second.
Mm. I love that. And then you kind of started naturally. I guess we would, because it's both mental and physical. So then if it does all that for our body, what does it do for our mind?
Yeah, so this is where the fun part happens,
Woohoo!
and where I feel like I personally was like, dang, I don't need supplements no more. This is the shit, right?
Yeah.
But the biggest thing I feel like I see change in people is their mood, right? Their happiness, their just overall joy. And a lot of it stems from memory. They can remember things. They're not searching for all of this. It's just coming back. And like all of that is super awesome. But like memories are processed, they're stored, they're put into long term and short term. And then with the resting of the body, your body and your brain is able to chill out, calm down, because I don't really like that C word, but just remain in its more natural state. So the blood flow inside of the brain starts to just kind of go where it's supposed to instead of where we put it, because blood flow patterns influence how it is we are showing up in the world.
Mm.
And that could be something positive, like, yay, it's rainbows and sunshine and butterflies and yada yada. Or it could be like, woo woo, like, why did you just cut me off in traffic? Like, that's so not cool. And when, like a river, eventually we're going to get back where it's supposed to be, where nature wants it, where it's intended like that. Um, that's what sleep can do for our mental status, and put everything back into alignment so that we're where we're supposed to be. No, yeah, where we're supposed to be instead of where we are. Because sometimes where we're supposed to be is so far away from normal. We've
Mm-hmm.
only taken it as normal. We don't even see normal anymore, so we don't think we can get there. In reality, that's just our egos and our self-limiting beliefs. So we could
Yeah.
also get rid of a lot of that too, which then calms anxiety. It helps to get rid of depression. It helps to relax your actual physical brain waves
Mm-hmm.
to be in alignment and go through the dance that they do throughout the night, instead of like the up and down woo woo, I'm going to do whatever I want to. There is a pattern, there is a rhythm, And that is what sleep does, especially when you get enough of it throughout the night. It's a wonderful thing for the mind.
I love that. And what came to me when you were speaking was technically when we're sleeping, it's the only time for most people when we just exist as our true authentic selves. Like we're not spending all this energy trying to please other people or try to get other people's respect or acknowledgement, or like we're just us. Because would you say subconsciously or unconsciously, or is it the same thing?
They're different, but when you're sleeping, it could be either.
Okay. I'll just say unconsciously we are authentic. Am I making sense?
Yes.
It was just like a thought that came to me because you said we're in our natural state when we're sleeping. Yeah, kind of just blew my own mind.
Yeah. No, like seriously, like a mic drop thing. Because I like, have you ever heard of somebody being like sleep drunk?
Hmm.
So sleep drunk is a thing, but when you're sleep drunk, you're drunker than when you would to be like pulled over for a DUI. You're drunker than that. Yet there's so many people going out functioning like that every day. So I can't remember how I was going to focus that back, but just lost my train of thought.
See, we're human. It happens.
No, it totally happens. And I feel like as annoying as it is, it's supposed to happen for that reason. Sometimes letting go is just one of those human things where raw, I can control everything.
Yeah. So my next question
Mhm.
ties into, and just to let you know, every time you grab that, I just see the top of it and it looks like you're drinking wine.
No, it's
I'm
definitely
like,
not
hey,
one.
if that helps you for an interview. But then when you pull the whole thing up, I can see it. Is it a blender bottle?
It's a hydrogen bottle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not wine. I'm sober, I swear.
Oh man. So going into the next piece of sleep and how it relates to everything that we do and every piece of our health, how does sleep or lack thereof affect our appetite? I know the
It's
answer, but I
so
want you to say it.
okay. Well, I feel like it's a multi-part answer, right?
Okay.
Because physically, when we're sleep deprived and we want to stay awake, we're going to go towards crunchy foods. When we're actually sleep deprived, we're not so inclined to make the best choices, especially health choices. So we're going to go towards something crunchy like a potato chip, something that we don't have to chew up a lot because it's not a lot of energy, something that dissolves and we can just go through a lot of, we can still get that crunch. We need the apple. It's still the crunch, but it's a little more work. So
Mm-hmm.
when we're sleep deprived, we're going to go through that. But also when we're sleep deprived, we also don't process the emotions as well. So emotional eating, binge eating, we are so much more likely to pick up the sweets and the things that we know aren't good. It's almost just like a gateway to self-sabotage.
Mm, yeah. It's pretty incredible, like the difference between the choices we make when we're exhausted versus when we're consciously deciding what we're going to put in our mouth. And sometimes that is a conscious decision to pick the potato chips, which is fine. But yeah, just the effect that I know, at least for me, like this morning, I probably had 5 hours of sleep last night. I purposely got up early because tomorrow I have to get up at 2 a.m., catch a plane. I'm going to Texas for a thing.
Mm.
So instead of just like get up before, oh, now you're getting up at 2, I wanted to like kind of, back it up. I was
Mm-hmm.
so hungry when I woke up this morning because and I know like now that I'm used to like tuning into my own body, I know it's because I didn't get a lot of sleep. So for me at least, I'm really hungry, extra hungry when I don't have sleep. And then that's when I tend to go for the saltier. I've never thought of crunchy though. That's interesting.
Yeah, because when you think about it, right, you hear the crunch from inside and from outside. So it's double
Hmm.
stimulant.
Yeah, to keep you awake, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't really sleep when it's too loud, right?
Yeah. So my next question then would be, how does sleep or lack thereof affect movement? Like if we were to go to the gym or just go for a walk, or like how does it affect um what am I trying to say? How does it affect our
Performance.
willingness, I guess, to want to go move our bodies?
Well, definitely less and less. And that's just like the performance as well. When you have to think about it, right? So when you get good sleep, you're at a different 100%. You're functioning like this 100%. And let's
Hmm.
say you're getting up for your trip, you know that you're sleep deprived, you have a different 100%. But we recognize this as 50% of this 100 instead of 100% of what you have right now. So when you only have this much, you can only show up that much. So
Mm,
performance is less. Like let's say you're going to go for a walk, you're probably going to go a little bit slower, or if you go at the pace you normally do, it's going to be more of a struggle. You're going to feel it. It's going to be maybe more of a mental thing when it used to just be like a no-brainer.
yeah. I've heard that um when you're on lack of sleep and you do choose to do like a, let's say, resistance training workout, it because of the lack of sleep, it basically does nothing for you. Is that true?
I'm not sure I would say nothing. However, like with lack of sleep comes a lack of awareness. So we're less likely to pay attention to the details that will keep us in a good alignment when we're doing something like lifting weights or having form when we're running. And when we don't have those good tactics in place, we're more likely to get injured. So sleep can be a cause of that indirectly.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the more likely to get injured piece. And I would argue to say too that a lot of people who fast or do their workout in a fasted state are also more likely to get injured because they don't have enough fuel in their bodies to perform said workout. And then if you mix not having enough food and not having enough sleep, and then you go try to go to the gym and do like a hardcore workout, man, you're fucked. Yep.
Absolutely. And I feel like a big factor that comes into all of that, especially sleep, is breathing. Like
Hmm.
overall breathing. It's one of those things where sometimes I actually have to think about because I catch myself holding my breath, especially when I'm moving. And that's not good for body. That's not good for brain. That's not good for emotions. That's not good for spirit. That's not good for
Yeah.
anybody else around me because then I get like woo woo and like defense.
Yeah. I have a one of my personal training clients holds her breath when she works outside. I constantly be like, "Don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath." And it's a habit for her. She's 70 years old. And so, 70 years of holding your breath when working out,
Mm-hmm.
your trainer's going to be like, "Don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath." And I'll never get tired of saying it. I don't want her to pass out. But anyway, yeah. Um, damn, sleep. I'm telling you guys, listeners, make sure you're getting your Z's.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And to relate sleep to massage and like honestly to meditation, because meditation is when you sit down and you're supposed to turn off your mind, close your eyes, which is the beginning stages of sleep. Nobody likes to sleep, which means nobody likes to meditate. But if we did like 5 seconds of meditation, honest intentional meditation,
Mm-hmm.
it's like the beginning 5 seconds of sleep. So if you think about just doing that throughout the day, you're going to get to sleep 5 seconds sooner beforehand. And if you're going in for massage, I know a lot of clients of mine, they love to talk, they love to keep their eyes open, ask me questions. However, if you really want to get in tune with not just your body, but like who you are and how you're healing / shut off all of the outside world, you're really going to close your eyes. And that in itself is a meditation, bringing you a little closer to who you are truly too.
Yes. That makes me want to ask you, what are your thoughts on naps?
I love them.
You're like, I love them. That's all.
So, like, especially when you're sleep deprived or like, let's face it, when you have a surge of inspiration, you catch yourself off too late because I have regulated my sleep. I feel like I've been the queen bee. Like I'm in bed by 10:30, very latest. I'm up by 6:30, very latest. It's been like that. But every now and again, I'll catch myself. I'm like, how did it just become 1 o'clock?
Yeah.
But yeah, one more time with the question. I just got lost in my own thought. I'm so sorry. Naps. So yeah, there's a thing called sleep debt. I know that I need 9 hours of sleep. That's my jam, right? If I don't get 9 hours, I'm accumulating that. So I'm going to take a nap / I can pay it forward. And if I know like I'm going to take a trip, I could do this. Or like when I get to my destination, I'm going to nap for that little bit. That's good. Regular napping, not so good, just because that means that you're not sleeping deep enough at night. But napping to pay off debt, absolutely. Napping to calm your internal system, absolutely. Napping to regulate stress, heck yes. There's so many good things that come from naps. There really, really is. But the thing with naps, and this is for like everybody, your mother, your brother, your son, your daughter, your dog, I don't care who you are, turn off the phone, turn off the TV, turn off electronics, all of them, especially fluorescent lights, but any kind of light, turn it off during your nap. That is the biggest, most important thing that you can do for not just your body, but specifically your eyes and then your mind, because all of that does do not so great effects.
I would go further and add blackout curtains, which I have in my room. And I have a sleep mask that says offline. And I recommended that to somebody recently. They're like, oh no, I don't want anything tight on my face. I'm like, no, you can like loosen it. And just like mine just sits like this. And it's amazeballs.
100%. So all sleep masks are not made the same. I worked overnight for 6 years, so I went through them all. You got to get the ones that look like the little bra that pop up. They go all the way around. They're going to be kind of big, but they lay flat and they go over your eye. So hypothetically speaking, if you were to wear makeup and you wanted to take a nap, you'd put this thing on and you'd lay flat and your makeup still be fine when you took the thing off. But that's the mask that I found worked the best.
My weirdo brain wanted to say, are there different cup sizes?
No, there might be at this point in the game.
You know, for people with larger eyeballs. I'm kidding. I think I just got a tear on that one.
That was so good. Do you remember that song? Now, this is going to show my age. What was her name? I think it was Orianti. Ladies, hands up. Let me see you shake your stuff. A, B, C, and D cups. Do you remember that song or no?
I don't.
Okay.
Maybe me not remembering it ages me.
I mean, I don't know. I don't remember when this came out. Maybe like the 90s or 2000s.
Okay.
All I know is a big thing. And I just remember looking down like, I'm so glad she actually did start with A because we're usually left out, especially in adult age.
Oh, it's amazing. We went from sleep to boobs.
Full circle.
Literally. All right. No laughing aloud on this podcast. Um, I'm gonna do like a turn, like a whoop, we're going this way now. Um, because this is still a podcast of stories, I want to know about you, a story that maybe like your deepest story of life experience. Does that make sense? Like something that like either changed you or changed the way you view the world or changed like a huge mind shift in some way.
Yeah, I feel like I have a few of those. Um, Probably one of the biggest ones that helped to shape me to be who I am today and actually believe the words that I say and be a person who walks their talk instead of just speaks really good language. Um, a bunch of years ago, I was married, and looking back, if I were to believe in signs, all of the signs were there to not do it, to run away, but I flat out said I was going to ignore them.
Mm.
And this particular relationship was because of a narcissist. And this is how I found out that he was a narcissist and I was an empath. And it was the typical, push and pull. I want to leave him, but I'm not actually comfortable doing it. I'm still scared. There's still this. And what if he does change? And what if it is me? And all of this jazz. But the universe had bigger plans. And this was kind of the moment that I suitably, people would say, found God, or like, find my faith. But it really just like, it stopped everything. I was like, hold up, I'm in charge of so much more. But when push came to shove, I found myself sitting on my couch in the comfort of my home. And my ex came in from work, and he was a Chicago police officer. So he just got off duty. He still had all of his stuff on, and he came and sat down on the couch with a beer and a gun. And he decided to put the beer down and the gun pointed at me. When I told him it made me uncomfortable, I did not like it. He needed to stop. He pulled the trigger, and that's how I found out that the gun was not loaded. However, if I'm being very honest, it was not me that said it. And this is part of the reason why I have such strong faith in who I am and that there is something bigger out there, because I kind of like draped away from myself, my own body, my first perspective, and I'm watching this all happen, and I'm like, these words are so cool, but I definitely don't have the confidence to say this right now, especially like so just straight, like this is right, like innately I know that this is wrong, this is not how it's supposed to be. However, how I showed up was not me. And I gave so much credit to the universe. But in that split second, I was also able to see all of the little things that got me to that exact moment. Because I feel like my life flashed before my eyes like a near-death experience. I had no idea what was going on. All I know is like click. I'm like, am I here? What's real anymore? But when I was able to, not just then, but after that, to take a look back at all of the little things that got me to that position, it really was my choice, my fault, if you will. I don't like saying that word. I was in charge, right? I was in control.
Yeah.
It was my choice. But when I really stepped back into my powers, like, yep, okay, well, I can't blame anybody else for that, because yes, that happened, but I didn't have to act like that. I didn't have to say that. I didn't have to do that. So it was a lot of me peeling back of the layers of conditioning and self-limiting beliefs that I had acquired from, consistently being, I was told that I was wrong as a child for so many things. But the biggest thing in like the layers coming back from this one experience was uh me being a natural born vegetarian. I've never liked the taste or the texture of meat. And I used to get tortured as a kid, in my own words, but my
Mm.
parents would force me to eat stuff I did not like at the dinner table, at the breakfast table, in front of people. They would say, "Hey, Amanda, if you love us, you'll do this." They would watch me cry. And it was just so terrible that I wanted them to love me for just who I am. And I didn't want to be that weirdo. And in that moment that I was sitting on the couch, there was a big part of me that wished that gun was loaded, just so I didn't have to face the divorce. I didn't have to face my parents. But most of all, I didn't have to face being me, myself, and I, so different in a world that doesn't understand me. Because yes, I have plenty of logic to back up my belief, but at the end of the day, it's just a belief. And I have all of this stuff. And even when I've presented it to my parents, they're beautiful people, and I know they have my best interest at heart. They are not people that want to understand me or my weirdness. And to me, that makes me really sad. And it's something that I've learned to kind of cope with and deal with. And it seems crazy that it's all of this like rolled into one, but life is all connected. And I swear in that moment, like there was so many things that came together, and there's still onion pieces coming out. But I feel like the thing that I absolutely hated, that I wish upon nobody, is the thing that I also most love, and I am so grateful for simultaneously.
Mm. When you were telling the story, I pictured you getting up off of that couch and like just standing like Superman pose, because it's like you stepping into your power. And it took something like that to get you there. And that's a beautiful story. Uh, how are your interactions now with like do you still speak to your family? No.
No, unfortunately, we're very different people, and my parents refuse to acknowledge that story in particular. They refuse to acknowledge certain things in my past time. And as much as I love them, I can't live in a life of ignorance. I feel like that is part of the reason that I was sitting on that couch looking face to face with that pistol. That is not how I'm going to finish out the rest of my existence. And unfortunately, I must love them so unconditionally, so much, from a very healthy distance. And I just feel like it's the best for everybody.
Yeah. It's interesting. I just shared a post today that said, "Don't be afraid of losing people. Be afraid of losing yourself trying to please other people," or something like that along those lines. So I feel like the universe was telling me that you were coming on the show today to tell me that story. Yeah.
And I feel like one of my favorite quotes, and I really dislike that it's my favorite, but it's actually a question too. What is stronger than family? Or what is stronger than blood? Choice. And a
Mm,
lot of times, the expression friends are family you choose for yourself. And it's really true. We're born
yeah.
into a certain blood, and that's beautiful. No matter what kind of blood it is fabulous because you are here and we need you exactly the way you are. The people you surround yourself with, your community, those are the people that are going to nurture you, that you're choosing to be around, that are supporting you in the ways that you need in order to be your best self. Now, whether that includes blood or not is entirely up to you, and there's no right
Mhm.
or wrong. It is what it is. either way, you got to have people around you. That's really what it's about.
Yeah. It reminds me of the saying that people they get twisted. It's blood is sicker than water. It's actually the blood of the womb is, well, no, the blood of the coven is thicker than the water of the womb, meaning
Mm.
the family that you chose can actually, not always, but can be more powerful and more significant in your life than the ones you share blood with. So,
Hmm.
yeah. Whew, good
That's
stuff.
powerful.
Yeah. Well, I have one more question for you, and I ask this at the end of every episode. And that is, if you had one piece of advice that you could give to the world, what would it be?
Breathe and keep going. Because honestly, when we're able to breathe, we can keep going. And when we keep going, we can survive. And when we can survive, we can thrive. But in reality, you never know who you're inspiring when you're only trying to survive. And surviving requires breathing. And at the end of the day, the breath of life, it all comes back to breathing.
Boom. Ladies and gentlemen, Amanda Olejarz signing off. Until next time.